to order.
Oh, great. Bring a pencil.
Yeah, I got internet. I don't know if it's mine or theirs. Okay. We are nearing the end of our yearly recommendations. So tonight, first off, let me say that behind the camera for this one is Paul Matson, who's doing a wonderful job here. And we thank him for being able to video this particular meeting. Since 99% of the time, we encourage citizens to show up, but they don't. So, Paul, thank you for your service. Chairman remark, the finals of the paperwork and Joe, you did a great job outlining stuff. I want to thank you for that. I read, I like your language. I like the way you reference stuff. Really nice job. So I have a few questions on some of the numbers, that's all.
Do you want to do the minutes first?
Yep, I'm just getting my chairman remarks in for now.
Gotcha, sorry.
Okay. And so we'll go through those things. There's not a lot, but you did a good job on it. Let's do the minutes now. And Mike?
The exact order we went through them in the meeting
Okay.
2 weeks ago. They don't necessarily line up with Joe's. Joe's is more orderly for presentation.
Okay.
But
Yeah, the only thing I saw, Mike, is in the first bullet, the date. I think it was just 3/17/22, right? It's typed 13/17. But other than that, I think everything was good.
yeah, okay. There were a couple things I didn't include prices on. On the second page, it's the facility study and the things we considered a priority, the work at the library and the work infiltration at the public safety building. We had a figure for that, but I don't know if we had one for the stuff at the library. I don't know if I should have included it there. We didn't discuss it at the
Well,
time.
We didn't talk about it.
No, those were gonna be other issues,
Yeah.
not recommendations for this, I believe.
No, I know, but we did discuss it at the
Yeah.
beginning of the meeting, and we made a note that we might send it up as, and Joe put it in his thing for a
Okay.
recommendation for ARPA funding.
Okay.
Everybody wants ARPA funding.
Yeah,
Anything else in the minutes?
I'm good. I'll make a
Okay.
motion to accept the minutes from our April 13th, 2022 meeting with the one revision on the date.
Okay. Second?
Second?
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. On the list of stuff, as I went down, Joe and Mike, the breathing air compressor, that price, I found, I could reference it, that was good. The wood house structural repairs, I could not find a $35,000 figure. When I went through the master plan, except for the roof, the structural repairs, painting and all that stuff added up to $52,040.
Was this something that had come in an email from Joe?
Is
Joe
it?
Buckley?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out where the are we underpriced at 35 for all the structural repairs? And it should be 52? Or 52 wasn't gonna get all the stuff done this year, and it was 35, so I guess that's what I'm,
Oh, wait a minute, there might be Wi-Fi in here. I'm only looking at that because I can get into my email and,
I have a little.
so it's private though, it's locked.
it's private?
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, so let me see if I can find,
let me find, maybe I can get.
I got an email from Joe on the Wood House. Yeah, so here's an email from Joe. This is dated March 31st. the rear, so this email is a couple of them, but this one pertains to the roof, just the roof. Okay, not the structural repairs, just the roof, which is item number 5.
Yeah, that one I
that-
found okay.
Okay, that's where he references the 27.5 for
Right.
the roof.
The number on the master was 20,000. So he probably adjusted it, because
Maybe.
on that,
So in that same string that he talks about the roof, earlier in that email string, which is dated February 24th, this is where he provides what he calls a real rough budget for the structural concerns.
okay,
And he said it's $5,000 to $7,000 for engineering, and then another $15,000 to $20,000 for the repairs to the foundation. That's where I came up with the 35, which is obviously rounded up a bit.
right,
So, but further, later in the email, he said, for the purposes of the article, $35,000 for masonry and structural repairs to the wood house as called out in the recent facility study. So that's where the number came from. It's from that February 24th email from Joe Buckley.
okay. Because the Woods Historical immediate repair costs come to 72,040 in the master plan.
Right, but what's in that?
In it is 20,000 strip and replace roof, and then other stuff, paint ceiling, point flash chimney, replace back door, weather strip and repair, replace rot, damaged wood and siding, repointing. Engineering, he only had down at 2,000, I don't know why. Tree work, crack seal, and site damage, site drainage. So there was a lot of stuff listed there that,
Yeah, but, right, and
That's why-
his repairs don't encompass all of that. He's looking at the foundation, engineering, the foundation repointing and parging, I guess it's called.
okay,
So that's 17. And then the repointing and flashing of the chimneys, that's 2,700. And then the roof is 20. So for the purposes of article, the second item, it's not everything listed in here.
Okay.
Because I think this encompasses more like siding and things like that, which aren't part of the masonry structural repairs that he's talking about.
okay, so we're gonna have to go back and revisit this at another time if we wanna get the wood studio finished.
All the other stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is simply the structural issues that were the most pressing in his mind,
Okay.
and the roof.
Okay,
Yeah.
And the roof.
Yeah,
okay.
but that's where the 35 came from.
Well, the
He rounded
35
up.
doesn't include the roof, this is
No.
just for the roof here, second half of the work.
Yeah, so it's the 35 in number 2, and then 27.5 for the roof is on top of the 35.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, got that one. The second one is sewer service truck including plow.
Mm-hmm.
Every place I looked, I found 60,000.
Yep,
And
so,
I'm trying to find out why it jumped to 91,135, because I can't find a reference. And I guess I should have checked my emails, but I didn't see them, and I usually print them out, but I didn't see it here.
yep, I got that, let me pull it up, because he did provide us a quote. Let me see if I can find, here it is. So this quote is from Lamoureux.
Is this for new, this is a new or used?
This is brand new.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's model year 2022. Can you see that?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Mike, I can show it to you too.
Yeah.
So this is where, so it's 57.8 base price for the truck, 7,500 for the stainless plow. That gets it to 65.3, and then the utility body is 25,835. So that gets us to the 91,135. And then, actually, we may need to go up a little bit on it because then it says plus the trade, whatever that value might be, which
Well,
is
I
the
think-
minimal.
I
Tax title
discount.
registration is gonna add on to that, so we
Right.
may wanna round it up to like, I don't know, maybe he gave us a rounded up number, but I took the quote number, let's look.
Platform running boards.
Yeah, I don't see another number other than that, but it sounds like tax title registration dock fees might be in addition to the 91,135.
Okay. So.
I think that's the utility body quote. Because that's an add-on after they buy
Yeah.
the truck, that back piece they put on.
Right. I mean, overall, if you look at the cost of trucks today, for just general trucks,
They're outrageous.
I mean,
Fully equipped utility trucks expensive.
Yeah,
so,
if you want to see them like
so
that.
are we looking, maybe we should change that number, Joe, then?
Well, I think if our recommendation is the price of the truck, then they, when they write the article and the actual dollar amount gets put in there,
It'll be
you're
from
gonna
a quote,
you're gonna be
yeah.
within a couple $1,000s. So I'm comfortable with
And
just
they
giving the
can
quote.
just move the money whenever it does from another fund to help pay for that.
Well, they'll incorporate it into the article that gets voted.
Yeah.
So wherever the source of that money is where it will come from.
Okay, so
if
we're
the
good
actual
there.
quote is 135, but they need 95, the article will move $95,000 from free cash or whatever. and
So I'm
it'll
taking
cover
it then, when all the other quotes were used, he's not gonna find a used truck anywhere.
I don't think he wants to use truck.
Not for that.
Not for that.
You don't think so, Mike?
Those get beat up
Yeah.
over the
Okay.
years. He's got 22
Well,
years out of
well,
the
no,
old
the
one.
thing of it, this is a sewer service
Yeah.
truck. This isn't a regular DPW plow. This is for the sewer.
Right, I understand.
So that's what and it's not a big dump truck.
No, I understand exactly what it is.
Okay.
We had them in Worcester,
Oh,
both sewer and water, and they
Yeah.
were expensive back then.
Okay,
And they're dedicated vehicles.
I just hope it get used for,
Oh, I
you
think
know,
it'll get used.
a lot. I mean, considering the snow and everything we have here. Okay,
It might have power takeoffs on it for electric pumps and
Yeah.
and things.
you're right, that can be it. Okay, good. Number 4, fine, I had no problem there. Number 5, no problem there.
We talked about.
Number 6, I didn't really find that, but I know we had looked at it at another time, so I'm not a problem with that number.
I have it here if you want to take a peek at it.
Yeah.
That's the quotes from Goldsmith Electric. This is what the district sent us, and that's where the 73,590 came from.
New equipment to remain floor to ceiling gear with approximate height of 90 inches. Feeder circuits will be used in breakers. Provisional breaker to be 320s, 220s, a 30-30, 350 amp, 370 amp, 390 amp, and 125 amp.
Wow.
Because that one's really outdated.
Yeah, but still, I have no idea what that kind of electrical work costs, and to see a quote like that.
I know electrical in general is not cheap, but
Yeah.
No, okay.
Get my panel work on my basement, it's
I mean,
expensive, never mind
it's
for
terrible
school.
that we got all this money, but it's also terrible that the prices have gone up so much now that it's eating away at everything. Okay. Any other stuff here I'm okay with, the chipper, the update?
are you guys okay with the way the wording is there, that, our top 6 are the
Oh, yeah.
ones that we
Yep.
kind of officially
Priorities,
recommend?
yeah.
Right, no,
And
I'm
then-
good with that.
In that order, based on money available.
Exactly,
Right.
right.
Right, and I do like, Joe, that, I guess for some reason I would like it highlighted, but I do like the fact that you had details of 20+ million worth of necessary building improvements. To give whoever reads this, if this goes into the,
Well, this will be our annual report.
so
too,
when they
so-
read it, I wanted to know that this is a drop in the bucket
Do
to
you
the
want
20
to, I
million.
can bold it.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Yeah.
Anything we can do to tell the town that, we're fighting every year to approve stuff that needs to be done.
I'll bold it.
Now, the public safety building water infiltration repairs, obviously, that's something that should be done out of ARPA funds. And I like the fact that you didn't mention free cash up for this or anything, or a loan, so I like that. Payments, I did send a copy of this. He had asked me if we had any recommendations for the warrants, and I said, we recommended it last year, but we're getting it together, we're meeting on it, so I sent it to Gary. I sent this to Gary before.
The letter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A copy of the letter.
Yep.
So he could have it ahead of time, because he wanted to discuss it with the finance committee, I believe. Okay. That looks good to me.
All right.
Yeah, it's a good
Good
look.
to go.
And I'd say, because we didn't make any votes at our last meeting because we wanted to hold it till we had this in front of us.
Right.
If we vote on the letter, that pretty much represents the vote of our 2023 capital plan, right?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
so we've.
I think that's a good
Should
letter.
make an
Okay.
official vote on this.
Yeah.
Do
I would make a motion that we approve this letter with the minor changes that were suggested.
Good.
And I just want to make sure I have the changes. I think the only one I got was the bolding. Was there
Right,
anything
the
else?
that's
20
okay.
million, highlighting that,
Okay.
but you backed up all those other figures.
Okay.
So the motion with that one minor change.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Get that to them.
I'll email that over to Gary and the board tomorrow.
Anything else now under old business?
No, the only thing I would say is, obviously the letter talks about once the decisions about ARPA are made, then we have to circle back on looking at potential borrowing, items to be borrowing on. So the only suggestion I would have for us is once those decisions are made and that 1.9 million is spoken for, I think knowing that this is as big as it is, and we kind of we went in depth, but we didn't go in
Right.
depth to the extent that we would if we knew we were doing a bond package.
Right.
That as soon as those decisions are made, that even if it's outside of our normal cycle of meeting, we should probably start digging into this and
Yep.
itemizing things and figuring out which direction we want to go with it.
Really start tearing that apart.
Because we really do
Yeah.
want to time a bond, I agree with the fact that we want to time a bond package for when that debt falls off, so we keep the tax rate level. I
Right.
think that's one of our top priorities, that we're asked to do.
That's what our committee
Absolutely.
does, right.
Otherwise, it'll get shot right down.
Yeah, so that's the only thing I would add on to old business, that we make a mental note that once the ARPA is gone, or spoken for,
Right.
we really start digging into what's left that isn't covered by ARPA and working on that bond package, because we do have details from Becky. I think I shared them out with you guys, what Becky and
Yes.
her bond
I
counsel.
was just looking through them
Yeah,
again. Yep.
the timing of when the debt falls off, like how much, 1 million in debt that falls off, if it's a 15-year term for paving projects, for example, how much what the annual payment would be and things like
Right.
that. So that's the type of stuff we need to dig into once we know
Right.
what's gonna be cared for.
Do we know what the time frame would be for something like paving?
15 years.
15, yeah.
You can borrow for 15 years for paving.
And if you look at $1 million over 15 years, or 1.3 million over 4 million,
Yeah.
it's not a significant amount.
Right.
So the way I looked at the numbers, I think the $65,000 of debt payment, annual debt payment that falls off this fiscal year. And I'm trying to think back, it's been a while since I looked at the numbers that Becky got, but it would equate to about $2 million over 15 years would back into roughly that type of payment.
Really?
So the pavement projects would be kind of that ideal.
That fit that.
It would
Yeah.
fit, but we just can't do that yet because we don't know if the pavement can be covered by ARPA. That's
Right.
Well,
what we're stuck in.
Right, and who is gonna be voting on that, do we know? It all gets approved by the select board, but wasn't there some kind of committee meeting put together?
There was a building committee, but there wasn't an infrastructure committee.
Right, but to go through the opera funding itself.
Oh,
Or
there
is that-
wasn't, right, but that I think you can really rely on the select board to do that.
Yeah,
I think they're the ones who are gonna have the ultimate say.
It sounds like public safety has their eye on that pretty big too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at the same time, in
The
another
public
2
safety
years-
building, some of the money for that building should come out of
Well,
there.
next year, we may need another ambulance.
Yeah,
The year after that, we might need another ladder truck.
Yeah.
So that's reaching its life expectancy.
Right.
So you've got quite a few numbers, high numbers coming up here over the next couple of years. So the more we can consistently keep that tax base level, if you will, the better off we're gonna be.
right.
And some things do start falling off more after that.
For a couple of years it
Yeah.
does, based on what we saw.
Right. Now, the one thing we don't know, in that municipal facilities, no schools were included,
Right.
even though we owned the buildings.
Right.
So we have no idea what's going on there. So that's a piece we're gonna have to back into a little bit too. In terms, I
I
don't
mean,
think they're gonna
they-
build anymore.
They
but-
provided the information on the school parking lots. Does someone, that same guy, what was that, Dan Deedy?
Yeah.
Does he have any kind of handle on that?
It seems to me a number of years back, they gave us a capital outlook. But it's gonna be dated by now, because that had to have been at least a couple few years ago.
If I remember correctly, it was, a lot of it had to do with the air conditioning units in the schools and revamping of the whole phone system in the school. Because if there was ever an incident, it was very difficult, from what they told me, to communicate from one place to another
Yeah.
in that. So those were the two big issues that were brought
Actually,
up that I saw.
I think I just found it.
Okay, I think that was it.
Yeah, it looks like 2017.
Yeah,
But it was a capital plan that spanned from 2019 to 2029. I'm just trying to see if there's anything like schools, like building type
Yeah.
things. So, here's Rutland. Water heater, bleachers, folding partition door. That's that big
yeah,
thing that
In the
splits
gym.
up the gym.
Right.
yeah.
Roofing,
Oh, I didn't see roofing, okay.
HVAC,
Yeah.
the two rooftop units, that's out to 2025. Actually, most of these things are out, they have out in 2025. The only thing that I just said that's not 2025 is the hot water heater, which I think already got
It
replaced.
did, it did get
Yeah.
replaced,
So those are the only things they have for all of the Rutland schools.
okay.
And that added up to $301,000 in 2025. And then they got two more items out in 2028, which is a central tree hot water heater. And then that's where they have the HVAC rooftop units for central tree as well.
They never mentioned that electrical system.
That's not in here at all.
No.
And things come up like that, you know. I'd be surprised if more things don't jump up.
They will.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what we have from them now, unless, I don't think we got anything more current.
Yeah, so hopefully they'll be able to give us something more current.
Yeah.
That we can work into our facility plan.
But I don't see any mention here of like an actual need for a school.
Yeah.
Although, that probably.
I can't imagine, I mean, but then again, I have no idea.
I don't know.
Okay, so we'll start working on that stuff the next time. I think we should make a decision in the next meeting where we want to start unless we do it. When we take the facilities management, do we take each particular facility? Do we talk about the town hall, tear that apart, then move on to the next one, move on to the next one? Trying to decide what's the most important piece in order to look
Some of
at
those need more detailed studies.
as we go forward.
You know, like obviously the safety building.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's in there. The cost of that is the town hall. I think picking it off piecemeal would be a tough job. I think there should be some kind of professional services brought in to put that together in a package. And if it's that expensive, it might end up being a bond at some point. You know?
oh, I think if whatever you do,
Yeah.
the cost is gonna be enormous. It's gonna have to be a bond package. Restructure it, rebuild out it, build a new one, doesn't matter.
Well, that's
You're talking
with a
millions of
building
dollars.
committee that never really materialized would be
Helpful.
helpful.
Have you heard anything more about that,
No,
John?
no.
Haven't either.
No, I mean, that was something that I think Margaret tried to pull together.
Right.
Of course, we're 2 TAs removed from Margaret at this point, so it's probably not even happening at this
Right.
point.
Right.
But
Okay. Any other old business? So we'll look at that facilities plan. New business will be the facilities plan next time. I have down here, no old business, so if we don't have any more old business, we'll go on to some new business. I put down here, future progress of committee. We are one down, we gotta think about replacing. And how do we, I felt, and I guess I'm looking for your feedback, I felt kind of rushed on this one. It's like everything was thrown at us. Ron wanted this, he wanted this, we wanted this, and I felt that we weren't really ready on a lot of that stuff. We used what we had, and I thought it was good, but I didn't know if we were able to really focus on the items to ask. I don't know. I just felt a little rushed on it, that he wanted it done, kind of out of our normal lane that we run in.
I
So-
think in reference to the facilities package that he was really hot on, I think that was rushed.
Yeah,
I don't think we were quite ready for that. This book is a lot to digest, and there's just so much between the lines,
Right.
between the pages, that has to be investigated. It's a good guide.
right. I like the fact that he wanted us to use that to help put together a bond package. I think we needed it, so, but get your thoughts on that. I'm just trying to refocus next year for the committee to see, we don't run into these things. We try to, here's what we do, and if you want us to step way out, you better give us a real good reason to do
I
that.
think what we happened, look, trying to figure, it was quick, and I think part of it was maybe normally, we've started by sending a letter either directly or through the TA to the departments. That didn't happen till late.
Right.
So I think that really kind of got everything, and our normal process, I agree, this whole book and the facility study, that all aside, our normal process got kicked off late because I don't think we triggered it quick enough.
But I also think
Out.
that he supplied us with a 5-year capital plan,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
you know?
But
And,
things change every year.
and no
It is.
background to that 5-year capital plan. We didn't have our own statements come in from a lot of the people. Some of them we did, but not everybody.
But
So-
we have a guide to question them in the future, because they helped assemble that.
Right,
Each one of the division heads. And this was done by an outside firm, and it's not an engineering study.
right.
So it's a guide at best. Those aren't quotes for, let's put together a bond.
Yeah.
That's why I think it was rushed so much.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it was bad, I'm just saying it kind of
Oh, it's a good
threw me
step.
out of my lane a little bit.
It's a good first step.
In terms of making the right recommendations,
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
all the pressure on the facility study and the bond package, I think, took some focus away from the normal year-to-year stuff.
Right.
Day-to-day things that have to get done.
Yeah, because we spent a lot of time just hashing through this and figuring out, okay, do we want a bond package? Do we not want a bond package?
Right.
Can we do this? Can't
Right.
we? And then we got away from the normal stuff we recommend, like the trucks and
Right.
you know.
Right.
So that's, I think that this probably played a big role. in
Trying
this
to-
But next year we'll have that, so we shouldn't have that problem.
That's why I want to do this early before the next cycle. That's why I was suggesting that, because if we try to do this and our normal cycle all at once again, we're going to end up in the same boat.
Yeah, I just want us to be able to run smooth,
Yeah.
efficient, so that we know what we're doing. So, not to be rushed into something.
But I agree with you that once we go through and figure out what are the priorities, do we focus on, like what we were talking about, the outside of the buildings and work our way in? We can't go on this pricing.
No,
It-
not at all.
It gives us a ballpark.
Right.
But once we decide on what the priorities are and what the items that we want to go after are, then we have to have the discussions with the powers that be. Okay, how do we go after this to get real prices?
And, well, some of the tough questions in there, they threw them right in there. You're gonna have to put out a $30,000 study
Yeah.
to address the public safety building, and the infiltration and whatnot.
The other piece I have is, are we trying, or should we try to get a package ready, a bond package ready for November?
No, I don't think it's possible.
Yeah,
That's a thought.
That's a tough question. And the question is, how much borrowing could be done? There's so much in there. What do you pull out? You can make some priorities, but do you make your priorities the paving we talked about? Because that might fit the money that's coming off of debt.
Okay.
Without
I'm just
raising
throwing
it.
that out as a discussion here.
But is that paving that much of a priority compared to some of this? I don't have those answers yet. That would take more homework.
You know, we've struggled every year with, every department has a need, and we try to fulfill it, but some departments, because of the low ratings, they don't rise to get recommended, such as some of the buildings out there that are heavily used.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be carpeting or painting or siding, it doesn't matter.
That's one of the reasons I thought opera funding fit so good for the library, because of the role it played in the pandemic, and it could play in the future.
And it may get ARPA funded still.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how they're thinking. Okay.
Well,
Yeah, the only reason I kind of, when you asked the question, Harry, I said no so quick is because I know that I can envision the work that's going to take to go through to prioritize and to get like the real pricing. Okay?
Yeah, I'm just trying.
But I can also see that the town trying to figure out how to spend the 1.9 million in ARPA is
Yeah.
going to take the next 6 months.
And yet that money's gonna go fast, it'll be, you know, that money, really, it's helpful, but compared to some of the long-term needs, it's a drop in the bucket.
True, yeah.
I was talking with my son yesterday, and we were discussing, he had a town meeting in Air. And he was discussing, he said, he said, there was a little discussion there. They wanted to put 1.4 million into their stabilization fund.
All at once.
All at once. In Air.
It must be nice, huh?
Yeah. I said, well, we don't really have that problem here.
We'll put 50 grand in if we're lucky.
Yeah.
Right. How big is Air? I don't know that.
They must have some industry.
Yeah,
They do.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but, and their tax rate's a little higher out there
Okay.
too.
Well, that's true too, yeah.
Okay, so anything, what time is it? God, I feel like I'm cheating.
Well, we didn't really have a lot we had to do tonight. The hard work we did last time, and Joe did a great letter that,
Right, the main thing, my asthma's kicking in, guys, sorry.
there's a lot of pollen in the air.
Yeah.
I've been going crazy lately.
Yeah, so, no other new business? Nothing
No.
we have? Well, then do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
And I'll
Okay.
second that.
All right, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved, adjourned at 7:03 PM.